Hi, this is Ajua with Beyond Infinite I Am. Again, back on another video. I haven't done one in a while, so I'm happy to be back and see you. Of course, I love you and make sure you love yourself. Today's video is going to be on bad habits. Okay. And how to help them, how to come out of them, and, things to make sure that you don't go back to them in the long run. Because a lot of times with bad habits, you may stop it now and, 3 years down the line, you pick the habit back up again. So we're going to try to touch on these little things here. Okay, so first, bad habits. Where do they come from? A lot of times bad habits can come from trauma. They can come from stress. They can come from hanging around the wrong crowd. They can come from cravings. Okay? They can come from a number of things because us as humans are very, very, very complicated. And sometimes we don't even know how our brain are going to react due to our personality and our do's and don'ts and will and won't, So bad habits can come from anywhere. But what you want to do first is pinpoint where the bad habit is coming from so that you can fix it, okay? Another big thing about bad habits, big habits. But about bad habits is, people think it's okay to have bad habits because they're like, oh, it's only hurting myself, it's not hurting others. Well, let me put you on to something real fast, okay? We are all connected as one, okay? The channel was not called Beyond Infinite I Am for no reason. We are all connected. We are all one. We are all light beings. We are all beings in general, We definitely came from somewhere before we came to Earth. We all know this. People wonder where we're going to go when we die, the deep, the shallow, the in-between, the mysteriousness, everything. So with that being said, when you have bad habits, and depending on what the bad habit is, it can affect the ones around you. We all know this, from drug addictions to alcohol addictions to simple things like getting angry. How many times have you been angry and you come in a household and you take it out on everybody around you? That can be considered a bad habit. Being angry and not dealing with your attitude can be a habit of yours, and it can be bad. If it happens often, it's bad, It can be considered some type of condition, Drinking, a lot of people drink. But how often do you drink where you affect others? When you go in a crowd and you get too drunk and you all over the place, or you threw up on somebody by accident, and you have all this negative energy and all these spirits inside you from the alcohol, and you're now rubbing that negative energy on the ones around you. So just because the bad habit is just something that you do doesn't mean that it doesn't affect others around you. I'm telling you, it doesn't mean that it doesn't affect other people around you. It's very important, that you fix your bad habit, even sexual bad habits or anything. If you do deal with a sexual habit or a sexual trauma, and whatever the trauma is, you can't connect the correct way. So a lot of times with different habits, that spiritual part of you is missing. Okay? Not just with sex, but with a number of different things. Certain habits can affect you ways where that spiritual part of you is taken away. So you become very, how can I say, they call you being a part of the matrix. They say you're a part of the matrix. You're not tapped in, And a lot of times you're not tapped in due to what you do daily, your habits that you do daily. If you don't have a bad habit, you wake up and you just start your day. That's a bad habit. People think, oh, I can create good habits. Yeah, good habit is waking up first thing in the morning and meditating and praying and setting your intentions for the day. But bad habits are waking up and first thing you do is look at your phone. So we're going from one extreme to the next. We can talk about bad habits and you can't stop. Unfortunately, I don't want to get too, because it's dark. I deal with people sometimes, and they are very, 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 very dark end of the spectrum. So you may be a molester and you can't help your cravings, or you might, You might be one of these people who have a sexual trauma, and the things that you watch are very negative, so it affects your soul negatively. And then you may be one of the people that your bad habit is being addicted to social media. You know what I'm saying? So bad habits are bad habits. You know, they are what they are. But what you want to do is be able to control it. And you want to be able to take control of it and take control of yourself. It's very important to take control of yourself. Like I said, the number one step again is to be aware. And don't feel bad when you have multiple bad habits. The average person has sometimes between 5 and 10 bad habits a day. Sometimes even more. You know, so it can become very overwhelming to be that, you know, quote unquote, perfect person, you know. No such thing as perfect, but you can definitely be perfectly imperfect and do it the right way. Strive to be better each time, each day. But yeah, the number one thing is to be aware. Second thing, once you are aware, you want to make sure you try to figure out where that bad habit stemmed from. Okay? So if you did pick up smoking from a friend, smoking cigarettes from a friend, you know, that's not too deep. You know where you got it from. You know where it stemmed from. You know, what you don't know, though, was why you were so weak in the first place to be able to take that from a friend. Did you look up to them? So it just happened to be something that you looked up to. Or, you know, were you also going through something traumatically where you said, I want to have a let out. They're doing this. Let me do it too because it's working for them. And, you know, just because someone's doing something doesn't mean that it's the best option to take. But, of course, we're all human. Or do you have trauma, or do you have a bad habit to where it's extreme trauma? You know, does your bad habit stem from getting hit by your parents? You know, does your bad habit stem from being hurt from a guy or a girl? Multiple relationships failing. You know, you want to dig deep and find out why those relationships failed in the first place. What about you makes you go to failed relationships? What about you is attracting that energy? Okay? Once you figure out what it is, the overall goal to master it or heal from it is usually around the same thing. Go inside. You want to meditate. You want to practice not doing it. And when I say practice, I mean you can practice as many times as you would like. I mean, there is no number for how many times you can fail at something and finally win. You know, they you know, millionaires fail all the time before they become actual millionaires. So it's very important to practice and do the work. Okay? You got to do the work. Because if you don't do the work, one bad habit, you don't only repeat the bad habit, but one bad habit can turn into another. It can turn into another and can turn into another. You know, I know people that start off smoking one bogey and end up smoking a pack a day. You went and took a drink and you only drunk on weekends, and now you're drinking every other day. You know, you first started eating... This is going to be a joke for me, but you first start eating, how can I put it in food, in the food way? Just say you were vegan and you started eating chicken and now you off the pork. I'm just saying. Pork being one of the worst things to eat, honestly. You know, that's the other way I can put it. But, yeah, it's very important, you know. A lot of times with bad habits too and loved ones around you, you gotta learn how to take constructive criticism. Okay? A lot of times you want to bring down your defense mechanisms and your defense mode. Okay? And a lot of times your defense mode is what got you there to that bad habit in the first place. Putting that guard up, putting that defense up, putting that up, trying to bury it, you know? So you want to let your guard down a little bit, actually a lot. But as you take these steps, you want to let it down slowly and slowly and slower, you know? Because, I love y'all, man. I love y'all. And I also love me. And when I help y'all, I really help me, because I'm not perfect, everything I'm telling you, I've been through. Not everything. Certain situations, obviously, I haven't been through those certain situations. But what I'm saying is I've been through the bad habits. I've been through the bad habits. I go through my practices every day. I go through my meditation. I go through the work. I do what I'm supposed to. You know what I'm saying? I go out my way to make sure I eat healthy. I go out my way to make sure whatever I'm doing doesn't hurt me or others in any form. Because one thing about me is that I make sure that, one thing about me is that I am very elevated spiritually. And even if I'm not elevated spiritually, I'm still a spiritual being altogether. So even in my lower vibrations, if people come visit me and I'm on my lower vibrations, sometimes they won't have the best experience on the other side. So I have to make sure that I'm well balanced all around. Okay, because I really do love y'all, man. I love y'all a lot. And a lot of times these bad habits can stop you from growing and stop you from elevating and stop you from being the person that you really need to be. A lot of times, you go through a period of repetition. And once you keep practicing and you become aware, and you practice and you become aware, it gets better. But sometimes for some it can get worse, because once you're aware, once you know, sometimes the consequences could be that much worse. And it happens because we're aware. Once we're aware, we know better. Versus a person who doesn't know better. Sometimes the consequences don't seem as bad because they didn't know better. Oh, okay, this is the first time. But once you know, just like the justice system sometimes, of course we know it's not fair. But sometimes your first offense, they may say, oh, that's fine, don't do it again. Or that's fine, you get community service. But once you know better, you start having to get worse sentences. You get that jail time, and now you got life. And now, you know what I'm saying? Now it's a whole different ballgame. Your life flashing before your eyes. Sometimes bad habits can go real far. Sometimes your life do flash before you till you don't have your life no more. A lot of bad habits can lead to death. And I'm not talking about just killing. I'm talking about eating unhealthy, smoking bad habits, where you're consuming so much that your body keep trying to tell you to get rid of it and you won't. So what happens? You end up with a mental illness, or you end up with the illness, period. It could be cancer. A lot of times I just went through someone where I seen a lot of their habits turn into psychotic breakdowns. And you want to fix it before it get that far. Everybody go through what they go through, and I swear it's not beyond repair. No matter how far it is, it's not beyond repair. We have to make it in this world. Literally, we got to make it. Okay? And I know it can be hard. I know life can be tough. But one thing about life is when you push forward and you set your intentions, and your intentions are very pure, you can get through it. You can stop eating that pork. You can put those cigarettes down, And I just wanted to end it with, I love y'all, man. I love y'all. And make sure you do the work. Whatever your trauma is, whatever your stress is, whatever your bad habit stems from, I can give you 3 pointers alone that can help it. But you have to go in and do the deeper work to figure out what is what, Meditate, okay? Set your intentions for the day. First thing in the morning, you meditate, you pray, you be thankful, you set your intentions out, okay? You practice. Whatever it is, you practice not doing it. Rather, you might be an info, you might have sex too much. You want to narrow it down to, if you have sex 10 times a day, you want to narrow it down to 8. Make sure you narrow it down to 8. Okay? Just saying. Just saying. And the last and the last one, I'm serious, y'all. I'm laughing, but I'm serious. The last one, love yourself. Love yourself should actually been first. But understand and overstand what your position and your bad habit is doing for your life. You know, what is it doing for your life? You know, sit back, think, break it down. And when I say meditate, I don't mean just meditate in the morning. I mean meditate. I would say meditate about 5 times a day, 5 to 6. Go in your inner self about 5, 6 times a day. You know, and that's a lot for some people. But I want you to sit back. Once you do the work, you stay on that path. Repeat the same steps. Even if you break that habit and you are no longer doing it anymore, the last step is to stay on the right path, okay? Even if you got it mastered, whatever you did to keep it mastered, you stay on that path so that it doesn't come back 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 6 months from now. Because it's real easy to, once you get everything in progress, to fall off. It's real easy to put the cigarettes down and say, oh, I quit for 6 months, and pick one back up. 6 months in 1 day, you know? So you want to make sure you stay on it. Don't stop. Okay? And I love y'all. That's it for this message for today. It was nice seeing you. I haven't seen you in a while. I love you, and make sure you continue to love yourself.